Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I just wanted to talk about my reading list for 2022. And I just had a couple of books here that I wanted to share, and we can go through them together. So currently I'm reading two books on stocks. The first one being 100 Baggers, and the second being the 100 best stocks to buy in 2020. So 100 Baggers is basically about trying to find stocks that return 100%. So you invest $1,000, you get back 100,000. So even the writer of the book. So I'm a bit skeptical about this book because I don't think the author is that rich. But he's basically trying to say these companies do happen quite rarely, but if they happen like once or twice or maybe three times in your life, then definitely you made a lot of profit, right? So think about it. If a company like Tesla or a company like Apple or Facebook, they exist, right? So these are companies that have happened in my lifetime. Maybe I wasn't old enough to invest in Apple or Facebook. I was still pretty young because Facebook was like 2008, right? So I was only like 12. But I think Tesla I could have invested in 2017 because I did start working late that year. I just wasn't into stocks. So I could have invested. Maybe towards 2018, I could have invested. So the point of this book is really just if such a company comes along at least once every decade and you're able to spot it, then you've definitely hit a home run. So the book is supposed to be a framework of how to keep an eye out for such companies. And then 100 best stocks to buy in 2020. This is a very obvious, it's a straightforward title. So it just gives a breakdown of 100 different stocks and talks a bit about the company, like why it's attractive, what they do, and what the risks are. I think this is a series, so he made other books like Best Stocks to Buy in 2013, 2016, 2018, 2020. And this is the latest edition as of today, which is uh, January 28th, 2022. So there's no 2021 book, and he hasn't yet come up with a 2022 book. So I'm going to Australia in a month or so, as long as the plane doesn't crash. And I have to get a job. I have to get a job as a management consultant, or I wouldn't be able to get permanent residency, which is the Australian version of the green card. So I'm prepping for it. There's a book called The Complete Q&A Job Interview Book. There's perfect phrases for perfect interview. And there's the resume and cover letter phrase book. And so the idea is that you don't want to be generic. You don't want to be like everyone who says, they're like, why should we hire you? And they're like, yeah, I'm hardworking, dedicated, focused, committed. I'm trying to sound less generic. I'm trying to look for words that will make me pop or stand out so that I don't have to be like all the other candidates. So one book is for cover letters, like resumes and cover letters. And these other two are for the interview itself, right? I'm not too keen on reading these books. I just want to get a job. So if I do manage to get a job without finishing these books, like I will start applying now, and even when I get into Australia, I'll apply. So if I get a job before I finish these books, I'll be happy because this is kind of just a means to an end, and the end is getting a job. There is also this book called Case in Point, which is a book for management consultants. I actually did start reading it in a previous interview, and it does help prepare you for what management consulting is like. I don't know if the writer worked at McKinsey or something. So I need to finish the book. It's more practice cases, like practice cases that someone is meant to do in order to give answers as if they're a business analyst or management consultant. There's also the case interview workbook. Again, just another book specifically for me, like for my line of work, which is management consulting. So those two books, again, I'll go through them, but I hope I don't necessarily need to finish them. Those are 5 books which I am hoping I can get the job before I finish them, because those books are sort of taking away from the other books that I want to read, the other books that will probably make a bigger difference in my life. Then the 2 real estate books I'm reading, so Commercial Real Estate Investing for Dummies, that I'm already halfway through the book. I'm just hoping to finish it. There's also Trump University Commercial Real Estate. So, yeah, I know a lot of people are not a fan of Trump, and I don't necessarily agree with his political views. But I mean, the man knows how to make money in real estate, so to speak. I mean, he inherited a lot of it. I mean, go check out my video on what Trump should have done to become richer. But anyway, I just want to see what he has to say. Like, it's not even written by him, it's written by someone that works for him. But it's one of the few books on commercial real estate out there. For those of you wondering why I'm picking commercial over residential real estate, it's the profit margins. The profit margins are higher and the leases are longer. So you can get a tenant for 10 years as opposed to 1 year. So you lease it out for 10 years, you don't have to worry about it. You just worry about the maintenance and stuff. But I think you can put in a clause which says they have to deal with the maintenance. So obviously it's more expensive to get into, but I think the payoffs are much, much better. All the real estate gurus will tell you that if you really want to get into real estate, you need to graduate from residential to commercial. So I haven't started reading this book, but I want to finish it. Then, of course, I'm sure you guys would all recommend this book to me. YouTube channel for Dummies. I just want to learn more about how to make better YouTube videos. Frankly, I don't really care about monetizing the videos. I just more want to inform people. Like, my goal is not to make a career out of YouTube to pay the bills. It's more just to inform people. And if I was to start a business, it would be to advertise the business. So not really make money directly from it. But yeah, if I can score some pocket change from it, I'll go for it. It's just these For Dummies books are usually extremely long, right? And sometimes you don't need such a terribly long book, but there it is. And finally, we have Scaling Up, right? This is supposedly the best book on how to scale a company. Because if you think about starting a company, the main issues you have is finding that initial funding. So, writing a business plan, doing the financial projections, finding an investor, but then it's scaling, right? Because that's really the difference between an entrepreneur, like a guy who owns a bookstore, and the guy who's a millionaire or billionaire. It's the scale, right? Is he able to scale his company? So I want to learn the secrets of scaling, right? But I don't think this book will be enough. I really just want to talk to people who scaled their companies and ask them, yeah, what's the secret? How did you scale so fast? Because I think people who scale and people who stay small, they have entirely different mindsets. Like, they're just thinking on an entirely different level. So this is a cornerstone question for me when it comes to business: how to scale, how to scale. I think it's a benchmark question. It's one of those questions that separates the small, tiny companies from the really humongous one. You can find people who are amazing entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, but they just didn't scale the business. Like, they have very good products, but they just don't know how to scale them. So I want to read that book. And finally, if I have time, doing business in China for dummies. I was already reading this book, but that's kind of on the back burner. I don't really, this is the page I was on. I don't really think that book is important at this stage, but I'm very bearish on China. I saw how they gutted Alibaba and Jack Ma, so very, very bearish, very, very skeptical. I think in China is only really good if you're into manufacturing. But software, I wouldn't really venture there, but just curious. I'm just so curious, right? These guys live an entirely different lifestyle from the way we do in the Western world. So I really just want to see what's going on and figure out how to make money from it. So yeah, that's my reading list. And I'll give you an update on December. If we make it to December, probably I might find new books that interest me. But yeah, probably the two books on stocks, the two books on real estate, and the one book on fundamental analysis in that order. I think those are the ones I'm keen to finish. Specifically, the 100 stocks to buy, because that's a very simple book. Like, you don't have to, you can just scroll through and pick whichever company sounds interesting. Yeah. So that's it. Maybe you guys can comment what your reading list is, or what you think of my reading list, or what you would recommend. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day.